It's Saturday, November 15th, 2025. As I'm looking at the news, looking for the three big stories that are most impactful for Ukraine, um, I'm a little nervous about this first one. The scandal with Zelensky's friend. It doesn't look like Zelensky's involved, but that scandal has the potential to undermine trust, cut Zelensky off from European and allied support, and really create havoc. Let's go back and look at the story here, and then I'll show you what just happened just today and yesterday. Okay, so about a couple days ago, 5 days ago, Ukraine's NABU and SAP exposed a major corruption scheme inside Energoatom. A known businessman and former energy officials skimmed 10 to 15% off contracts by extorting kickbacks from suppliers. Now, this was one of Zelensky's friends that did this. Now, Zelensky came out, like a longtime friend of Zelensky's. Now, Zelensky came out that same day and said any effective action against corruption is necessary. Accountability is necessary. Everyone who built these schemes must face clear legal response. There must be verdicts. Okay, so that's good. He is putting out the right message. Now, remember, the NABU found this. The NABU was the organization that they tried to defang earlier in the summer for different reasons, and then they had to quickly reverse themselves after all these protests. These protests were in July about Zelensky signing this bill about moving the NABU under executive authority rather than being independent. In fact, this is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posting this back in July. Huge protests erupt in Kyiv against Ukrainian President Zelensky as he is a dictator and refuses to make a peace deal and end the war. Good for the Ukrainian people. Throw him out of office. And America must stop funding and sending weapons. Okay, so this same kind of thing can have that same kind of effect with, more vocal support against or for Russia against Ukraine. Now, Zelensky yesterday was awarding the Order of the Golden Star and other state awards to military personnel. I believe the Golden Star is like those that have died. For military personnel of Ukraine's security and defense forces, and presented the distinctions to the families of the fallen heroes who were posthumously honored. We will honor Ukrainian warriors. And so he's doing this yesterday. And this is what he should be doing. But he also had to take attention to other things like this. We're beginning the overhaul of key state-owned enterprises in the energy sector. Alongside a full audit of their financial activities, the management of these companies is to be reviewed. Today, together with Prime Minister Yulia Servadenko and Minister of Economy Oleksiy Sobolev, we defined the course of action. Energoatom, within a week, all conditions must be in place to form a new professional supervisory board, enabling a complete overhaul of the company's management. Okay, so they're doing the right thing, but again, you should be doing this and you're doing that. Now, Prime Minister Tusk from Poland was coming out and saying exactly the right thing. Tusk urged Ukrainians avoid corruption, do not resemble the Russians. Now, I did this video about 2 years ago where I showed the closer you are in proximity to Russia or in ideology like Hungary to Russia, the more corrupt you tend to be. All the post-Soviet states, the Warsaw Pact states, the further you are away from Russia, the more likely you are to be less corrupt. It's a process and it takes time. Okay, Tusk said because tolerating such actions could ultimately cost you the war. That's what he's worried about, and I think that's absolutely correct. He stressed that corruption scandals deal serious image damage to Ukrainians. That means it will become much harder to convince international partners to keep supporting Kyiv, especially when you see things like, well, I'll show you this. Here's some protests. Ukrainian protesters gather in Kyiv, holding signs reading Zelensky is a criminal and no to corruption. This is happening now. This is November 15th. Okay, so it's a small protest, but protest nonetheless, and it's being carried in Sputnik, and so Russia's going to make lots of hay out of this. The protesters also demanded the resignation of Andrei Yermak, referring to him as the leader of corruption schemes in Zelensky's office. Now, okay, they're trying to fix this. Zelensky's meeting with Mikhailo Fedorov, first deputy prime minister of Ukraine. Our state continues to digitize public services and is committed to ensuring full transparency in all interactions between citizens and the state, as well as between businesses and the state. Everything that strengthens Ukraine's resilience, we support and implement through relevant decisions. Okay, so they're trying to do this, but again, these protests, It's all bad, and it's going to be used against them. And then you see things like this. This is Redacted. Redacted is a channel on YouTube that has never ever supported Ukraine. Always called Zelensky a dictator. Here, the Clayton Morris and his wife are calling this just, hey, we knew this was going to happen. Let's listen to just a minute.
Well, it turns out that Ukrainian dictator Zelensky and his inner circle are wildly corrupt. Who could have seen this coming? Oh, yeah, we did. Years ago on this show, the lavish cars we reported on,
which weren't actually, like, he was talking about mansions and all kinds of corrupt things that I took issue with, and I did videos countering what he was saying because there were some fabricated things, but
homes they were buying with oceanfront views. We covered all of it. No one did anything about it.
That's because much of it was made up.
No one did anything to stop it. Well. Turns out someone is finally trying to stop it, at least. Word this morning that Zelensky's business partner and his justice minister and many other allies close to Zelensky have been implicated in a massive money laundering scheme using U.S. tax dollars meant to defend their energy infrastructure.
Yeah, and so that's going to be all bad because you're going to say, well, look, it's U.S. dollars. Why are we sending anything more to them if they're going to be, doing this with it? It's just graft, right? I mean, it's hard to argue against that kind of case. And it looks so bad because it's one of Zelensky's close friends from many years.
Shocking. They found bags of dollars and euros. Estimated they stole more than 100 million U.S. dollars.
Yeah. So that's going to be painful. This has real potential to harm the war effort in a significant way, more than just about any other political story out there. Meanwhile, there are other things that are going on in the world, like U.S. President Donald Trump right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who you just saw with that protest video, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, "I'm withdrawing my support and endorsement." Trump was saying, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Congresswoman who will read the names on Epstein's list and in Congress under immunity." What does she mean by that? Or what do we mean by immunity? Well, let's hear her, and then I'll explain.
It's a scary thing to name names, but I will tell you, I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor and I'll say every damn name that abused these women.
Okay, so she's talking about the Epstein list and that sort of thing. So why are we talking about the immunity? Because when you're on the floor, she can't be prosecuted for what she's saying on the floor in the Capitol. Okay, so now, again, it's such a weird thing. I don't agree at all with almost everything that the Duran, this is Alex Christoforou, he's one of the two co-hosts of the Duran podcast. I don't agree with almost anything. I've taken issue with them many times, but I think this is what's going to happen with the Epstein thing. And if you want me to, I'm not going to talk about it in a full video unless you decide that you want me to talk about that. So put in the comments below, yes, Epstein or no Epstein, because there's a connection to Russia, believe it or not, with the Epstein list and that sort of thing. And just some weird things that you want to be aware of how this is going out. So I'm not going to talk about it too long, but let's look at this. Instead of releasing the files, Trump is asking Bondi, that's Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Kash Patel to investigate Bill Clinton, that's former President Clinton, Larry Summers, his former Secretary of the Treasury, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, many other people and institutions. These are very powerful people. Institutions and banks will retaliate. When elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. The only thing that will reunite them and distract from them is a full fallout and scandal is a foreign war. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, this is what Trump had just put out on Truth Social. Now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try to deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all their other failures, I'll be asking Attorney General Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, all the other people. And so that's where that's coming from. And he concludes with, records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein on his island. Stay tuned. Okay, so I think Trump is going to just try to burn it all down with them. And like, he's going to use the Bill Clinton strategy, which is ironic because Bill Clinton's probably involved in this somehow. The Trump on Epstein, quote, I was never on his island. Bill Clinton, they say, was there 28 times. When I say the Bill Clinton strategy, what I mean by that is that during Bill Clinton's impeachment with Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton used the defense of, see, Thomas Jefferson, he had a affair with his black slave Sally Hemings, and he was like tarring Thomas Jefferson in the process of trying to get through his own impeachment. I think Trump's going to do the same thing. He's going to burn everything else down in the process. Trump insists that they were never close, that he and Epstein were never close, just moved in the same circles. He says he's ready to let the FBI and Justice Department investigate everyone connected to Epstein, including Clinton, whom he accuses of making 28 visits to the infamous island. Okay, I think that's the direction that this thing's going to go. Now, this last little line here where the only thing that will reunite them and distract them further is a foreign war. Well, I'm not saying that this is connected. I don't know that it is, but it's going to be lots of people will be talking about wagging the dog, right? If you are familiar with that movie, Wag the Dog, where you're just trying to distract from whatever else is going on by waging a war here. President Trump says he's finalized the decision regarding Venezuela and cannot reveal more details for now. According to the Washington Post, for the second day, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Dan Keene are holding emergency meetings at the White House to discuss possible start of a military operation in Venezuela. I talked about that yesterday. Additionally, discussions included the possibility that special operations forces might be needed in the upcoming operation. This commentary says that I served the U.S. IC under fire in Iraq and Afghanistan, had many friends die. Lifetime of conflict has definitely changed me. Not a single U.S. casualty is worth an unnecessary war in Venezuela. Congress is asleep. Now, he's responding to this by Alex Piltzis, which is saying this: 25% of the deployed U.S. Navy is on station in the Caribbean. That's a lot. Marine Expeditionary Unit, fighters and bombers, multiple options briefed at last 3 meetings last week. President said he's made up his mind. Force composition says strikes and target operation. So it looks like something's about to start in Venezuela. Why? I'm still not sure. I still don't quite understand what all that is. And I'm not going to jump into a conspiracy land and say it's because of this. I don't know that that's it. I mean, if it's about drugs, then it seems like Colombia is more, likely to be the suspect than Venezuela. But okay. President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela has urged the people of the United States to stop the reckless hand giving orders for bombings. Quote, stop the war, no to war. The people of the United States must play a decisive role in preventing a tragedy for all of the Americas, the politician appealed. Now, he shouldn't be in office. He lost the election, and he stayed there anyway because he rigged the system with his justices, his election officials, saying that he won when he really didn't. But I don't know that this is the reason that Trump's doing that. It seems like there's something else. Meanwhile, just another story. Hungary's not even pretending anymore. Hungary will divert its 1.5 million euro share from the EU peace facility to Lebanon's armed forces instead of Ukraine's. Foreign Minister Sujarto told his Lebanese counterpart that Hungary's national security interest lies in the Middle East stability. I mean, I can't even get through the sentence that Hungary's national security interest lies in Middle East stability, not arming Ukraine. I mean, it's just bizarre to watch that they would even try to make that sentence with a straight face. Okay, last couple things. Since a ban on disposable e-cigarettes, Ukrainian volunteers have shipped thousands of unused vape batteries to Ukraine, where they're made into power banks for frontline soldiers. That's clever. What a clever use. While Hungary's doing that, this is what Britain's doing. Good on Great Britain. Last little bit, 2 things here with Georgia. Every evening since November 28th, remember it's November 15th right now, since November 28th, 2024, the Georgians are out there protesting. It's the longest national resistance that's Googleable. They cannot stabilize the dictatorship. We need better resources to consolidate a final blow to the Russian regime. Look at this. They're out there every day since November 28th of 2024. And then finally, I'll leave you with this. Jackson Hinkle, I saw this on Twitter and I thought that was weird. Jackson Hinkle posted, describe Putin with one word. I was thinking, that can cut against you. Like, not everybody's a fan of Putin. And then I saw this. Land Forces of Ukraine posted target. Well, again, when you put this out and describe them in one word, that people describe them different ways. All right, my friends, thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.